Right. So I'd like to sit here and moan about the riots in the streets and stuff, and, you know, how disappointing it is. But that's not really the purpose of today's show. Not really. Today's show, you know, I usually sit here and just chill with you at the weekends and play some video games. And that would be what I was sat here about to do. I've already opened up the video game in the background, and we're not playing it at the moment because of this truth signal and the posting of these images that claim to be the Nicola Bulley Sonar. That's what's happening. You might see, like, my attitude, like my temperament right now is not like, well, hey, let's go, hey, Saturday weekend, because it's actually quite a sad day for the country in terms of those rioters, and thankfully a positive day for the counter-protesters. There's so much to talk about there, really, but I don't really want to talk about it, you know. The thing that I was sat down, you know, looking at the tweets and stuff like that, and the thing that obviously stood out was someone drew this to my attention. So this is what we're going to talk about, really. I feel like I should wait for the room to fill up a bit before I go ahead and, like, do a big, deep investigate talk, but there's a few things I want to say, you know, at the start before the room does fill up a bit. So I'm actually aware now that people are watching this. Like, I do things on on Twitch, and it gives people a heads up, like a head start on my content.
The blonde one, the dark one, and the butch one.
Big ups, thank you,
I
Sarah
don't remember
J.
the names.
Thank you for the Prime subscribe. Thank you very much. If you've got Prime, Amazon Prime, then you can subscribe for free here, and you get that free on your Amazon Prime. Just link up your account and make sure to do it every month that you press the button, because it doesn't automatically roll over. Thank you. I, in a way, could be jumping on Super Chuffer and just doing this, like, be first. Get on Super Chuffer, talk about this first, get the views. And I'm aware that when I do certain content over here, obviously on Twitch, you get the advantage of being here, hanging out, we do different stuff. Sometimes, I say advantage, when we do it's almost like members content in a way that could be for Super Chuffer. I could do this on Super Chuffer as members content, maybe. But you'll understand what I'm about to say. We all know that what happens over here on Twitch, I'm a bit more laid back, a bit more freeform, and something can come up, we can suddenly start looking at it, we could be playing a game, we could change our stream into something else, we could do fortune teller cards, we could do reacting to neighbours, like all sorts of stuff. And if it's good stuff that happens, and we think that was pretty good, you know, it's like a content creation free space for me. So I can say that was quite a good bit we did, or this is going to go up on Super Chuffer, you know, and I get the advantage as well on Twitch. I say advantage. I feel like, you know what it's like on social media. You could get copyright strikes, you could get blocked on some things. I can do whatever I want over here on Twitch. If I lose this Twitch channel, I've lost a Twitch channel. Okay, I'm really grateful I've got loads of subscribers. I'm grateful for you chuffers for supporting and subscribing. So I don't want to just dash it under the bus, but I'm a bit more relaxed on some of the content, because then if you're live streaming on YouTube and you get hit with the copyright and it takes down, I mean, we've had it before with Eurovision, didn't we? So I don't want to jeopardize the Super Chuffer channel for that. But if I upload something, then it can get checked and it goes ahead, and there's no worry about losing the channel. So it's different from doing a live on Super Chuffer where I could suddenly lose because of copyright. There's not going to be anything particularly copyright here tonight, but you know, there's a few different reasons why we like to do things on Twitch and then upload them to Super Chuffer sometimes. This is another slightly different thing. This could be just sort of jump on it, get it on the internet, YouTube, Super Chuffer content, but then I might not think it is. And once I've done it on Super Chuffer as a live stream, it's done. I could research this first, have a good think, present my thoughts on Super Chuffer afterwards, but I think you'd want to see me live, you know, thinking and researching and looking into. I say researching, like, you know, reacting, I suppose. So with this, it's like that, and I've got this real strong gut feeling, not a bias, but a gut feeling that what's going to happen here when we look at this is that it's going to turn out to be a load of bollocks. And it wouldn't really be right to be jumping on Super Chuffer, trying to bandwagon first past the post, many views as I can, quickest, desperate, true crime style. You know what I mean? Like, true crime, there's a spectrum. There's some good ones and some really awful ones. I don't want to be doing that with this. It's Nicola Bulley's death. It's manipulation of her death for other people's private and political means, and it falls on a day, I mean, I don't know when this was posted exactly, we'll find out in a second, but it falls on a day when I'm already feeling quite disappointed with politics in the UK in a way, you know. So yeah, I'm going to be like me, and I'm going to do this. We'll look at this on this channel here on Twitch, and then I will upload this to Super Chuffer. I'm pretty sure I will do that, but it give me the chance to overview it, maybe edit some things out, maybe just put it up as members content. I keep saying this about certain things. It's just like there's a sense of time, place, tone, taste, you know, these sort of questions that other channels in the true crime space do not care about, and I've critiqued a lot of them heavily for it. So this is one of those. This is one of those. If people truly believe this is Nicola Bulley's image of her corpse, then you know, that comes with some taste and decency questions, doesn't it? And if they don't, then it also raises, I mean, like I probably won't, then it raises some increasingly more worrisome taste and decency questions. You know, I don't know what YouTube will think about images of Sonar images and stuff. I find it all a bit, you know, this is a bit icky. And so, yeah, so that's what we're doing tonight for a bit, is we're going to look at these images, we're going to look at the source, we're going to critique it, and then I'll probably upload that to YouTube, and then we'll carry on and play some video games. We might even chat about other things, but for the start, you know, because I'm going to want to edit this, put it on YouTube, and if you're watching this on YouTube, sorry you're hearing me talking, it's a good introduction, enjoy it. But for those reasons, I just want to be a bit careful and a bit tentative here. Like I was going to say as well, I do believe there are other people out there. There's a funny aspect to this, which is people are able to get a head start on my content. Obviously it's done here first, you all see it, but this is a much smaller, much more intimate audience, and the streams don't stay up forever. People don't come to Twitch and find your videos over, like, you know, then it's not a video sharing platform, it's a live streaming platform. So it might be that people take on what I've said here and then parrot it on their own channels, or argue with it in their channels in some way, or you know, like this whole aspect of being first and being really secretive, or not secretive, but competitive about your ideas and content, is a strange one to me a little bit. I understand the drives and the ideas behind it, but to me, if you're talking about the truth and true crime and stuff, like, you know, it's people's lives, and so that sense of desperation to one up somebody and to steal their best bits, so to speak, and their best ideas, like Alan, they're stealing bits of me, but, like, you know, even to feel threatened by it would then be doing a disservice to the truth for Nicola. You know, to let those selfish, petty, envious, jealous drive somebody, or me, or anyone, to think differently about how we present the content in terms of ripping people off, getting there first, you know, stealing an audience, trying to get the numbers, like that sort of stuff. That's what's so disgusting about the true crime content creators like Alan and his ilk. So I'm aware that what will happen tonight is we will discuss things on this stream. You're here in chat. We will think about things carefully, and we'll look at this, and then it will literally be for some people out there, it will be a great resource for their content. And that means that, you know, in the long run, I'm still the person that they're coming to for ideas, and you know, they're still basically feeding off me. So is what it is, isn't it? And you in chat, they'll be looking at your ideas too, so don't be afraid to share them. But we'll always have this recorded first, and we'll put it up on YouTube if we feel it's the right thing to do. Okay, so into this we go. Truth Signal UK is a Twitter account, and I have blocked them. I cannot tell you, I can't remember why I've blocked them. The most likely reason that I block people is right-wing politics, pushing fake strange agendas, if it's Nicola Bulley stuff, misinformation. There's been a lot of misinformation on the social media, a lot of truth tellers, accounts that look really, really right and honest, called Narrative Buster or Truth Finder or whatever. There's a lot of them, and they quite often are. They seem to be interested in true crime or a case or something, and just seem to be helpful, and they found something interesting. And then after a little bit, they turn heavily political as well. And it's like, oh, you're just some sort of weird fake account. There was a couple with Jay Slater, a really standout one called Nick Rose, who is a crypto pseudo-fascist. When people were watching him on Jay Slater, they were just like, oh, this guy, interesting talking about Jay Slater. They weren't questioning where he got his information and, what his drivers were to share it. But it's obvious now that that's died down.
The blonde one, the dark one, and the butch one. I don't remember the names.
Big ups to Standing. Thank you very much for the Prime subscribe. Every time I get one, I'll say it. If you have Prime, you can subscribe for free on this system. You just have to link your Prime account, and you do have to remember to do it once a month. So, as the month rolls around, please remember to update your Prime subscribes, because it doesn't do it for you. But it is a free subscribe, so I get the benefit, and you get this benefit of the subscribe. So thank you very much. So True Signal are based, I reference one particular person there, it doesn't matter really. You all know that there's a lot of very strange accounts on Twitter, especially on Twitter. They're all over the social medias, but especially on Twitter, they appear to be one thing. They're heavily political underneath, and where are they getting their information, and is it right? And there's been a really bad one. There was a channel on YouTube called Just Gone Viral, and I've got the clips from this in the old content when we did about Nicola Bulley. They were perpetuating an idea that Nicola Bulley's body had been found. They had images of it, and it wasn't her body that they had the images of. They'd got them from a 2015 South African drowning in Durban, and someone actually sent me those pictures as well in a separate email. There's an awful lot of misinformation goes on out there, and even to this day with the Jay Slater case, people reporting things they'd seen on Just Gone Viral, and that meant that those channels that did that weren't doing their due diligence or were in on some sort of bollocks, because they are all perpetuating misinformation and bollocks, and it's really dangerous and weird. So this channel, True Signal, I'm guessing, because I can't remember exactly why I blocked them. I don't think they'd have come to me and trolled me. I think they would have put something up Nicola Bulley related, or I would have posted something Nicola Bulley related. They might have posted, a reply to it, and it would have been seriously off, misinformation, something wrong with it. And I thought, I don't want this in my news feed. I don't want to see you on my thing. I don't want you commenting on my stuff, warping the narrative with your strangeness. Let's block you. So that's why they're blocked. Yeah, but I still have the opportunity to view their posts, even though I blocked them. Let's do that. Let's move this around so you can see it a bit better. Their pinned post from 2 hours ago is Nicola Bulley body bombshell, leaked side sonar scans that police hid from the inquest. And that sounds like a tabloid. We're going to have a good dig into this, right? First thing I'm going to do actually is I'm just going to quickly screenshot these images just in case anything happens to them. So there's one. Obviously this is all on screen so you can see it. This one's much bigger. There's two. This is being recorded on this stream. There's three. You'll already be getting feelings about these pictures, I'm sure. And don't worry, we will get to this. And this is part of the same post, so I'll screenshot this as well. English Gardener, that's somebody who I might have blocked. I think they're a racist, I think. I can't be right in saying that, maybe don't quote me on saying that, because I have so many people. This post was written by English Gardener apparently. I have so many people that I have blocked with the England flag in their name, and all sorts of strangeness like that. Let's just have a quick scroll down here and see what sort of stuff they're posting. Let's see what sort of stuff they're posting on their channel before we get into this particular post from True Signal and why I might have blocked them. Stormtroopers coming from us to house to house. The crackdown begins. The police are going door to door in Sunderland, forcing entry to arrest people protesting for their country. So you're right-wing and racist then. They're not arresting people protesting for their country. Those weren't protests. They were violent disturbances. It's linked, look. It's all see what I mean about the Nicola Bulley. I thought I was going to show you something about Nicola Bulley case from this, but look how linked it is to this specific right-wing Reform Party Farage, wolf in sheep's clothing, nationalistic. Nothing to see here, just a load of mostly peaceful Muslims chanting Allahu Akbar. It's the bad Muslims. Starmer leaves Britain to burn. Well, obviously Starmer's only been in the UK Prime Minister job for like 2 weeks. So if anything's bad going on, it's obviously just not his fault, is it? But like, you know, we all know this. We can all see this. This is a stupid contrivance of. I don't want the violence on the screen. A stupid contrivance of the right wing. And look how heavy Truth Signal are on this Truth Signal. You know, Truth Signal, yeah, really good Truth Signal, aren't you? It's obvious what you are. Your right-wing fascist agenda in a social media account. And it's really clear at the moment because of what's going on in the country. You know, it makes it even more clear who is who at the moment. Right-wing fascist media, fake news, fake account, fake person. They're not trying to share the truth. There's lots wrong with this. So for them to be sharing this Nicola Bulley bombshell, what's going on? Nick Rose, let's just reference this again quickly because I think it's a good example. Nick Rose, he literally put himself in front of my face. Not like literally, but he became. I noticed who he was because of the Jay Slater stuff. He had a load of these sort of tweets, TikTok tweet style tweets about talking about Jay Slater, like stuff like that. We looked at it on the show when we did social media solve the Jay Slater case. Nick Rose is now basically hardline right wing fascist, going on about look at him with his feet wobbling behind him here. Look at his little feet wobbling. He's going on about cryptocurrency. You want to go and buy some cryptocurrency. He doesn't like the boxer who was not a man. She was a woman, but he's angry about some of his videos being removed off TikTok without a warning, because I wonder why your videos were removed off TikTok. The Southport incident, people have taken to the streets in demonstration, he says. Like, he's basically pumping up all that, isn't he? He's pumping up all that. And you know whose side he's on. You very much know whose side he's on. The divisive language used by the UK Prime Minister this week has done nothing to aid the country's tensions. He actually promoted reform during the election. And look at this image. That's his header. He wants to be like James English. There's a lot of them that think James English is good. He wants to be like him. He's got his leg up in the picture. On the phone, you can see he's got his leg up like that. Like, the guy's a jerk. He's an actual jerk. And they hijack popular news stories that tick boxes for, like Alan did. You know, Alan used to hijack the true crime stories because they tick the boxes for the demographic of like slightly older lady, maybe keys to the family here we're talking about, you know, the matriarch of the family, on social media a lot. TikToks, tweets, and a lot of them probably think he's quite good looking and a bit, you know, like, you know how Luke seems to appeal to a certain, I mean, I even appeal to a few of you, but you know what I mean, like, these are the influencers that are sent to manipulate parts of the population, I think, or he's just that deluded and naive and, you know, into this sort of stuff that he's decided to jump from true crime to right-wing politics, you know, because now's the moment. But I feel like these people are more likely to be strange. I mean, you can see his face, you can know where he lives, and you know, and all that stuff. But he could still be backed by strange ideas and strange people, couldn't he? I just really, really find the current social media. What's the word? Malay, like the melting pot. It's been poisoned by bad actors, fake people, all sorts of different kinds and ways. It would be nice if people were just who they said they were, and you know, you could believe in them. At least with an account like Truth Signal here, you know it's just a fucking fake account run by a right-wing agenda, probably media person. You know, like, this is what they are, media people trying to run the social media. Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't somebody with their ideas just sat at home tweeting, is it? And more so, okay, we'll get back to these pictures of Nicola Bulley then. Right, yeah, like Curtis Media's gone from auditing to the riots. You're right. And actually, if you go on YouTube at the moment, and in the UK, if you go live, if I click live like this, I'm going to get some options to watch some riots, I think. Like, there's one here called DK Media. It's interesting. It's just like Curtis's channel, isn't it? It's a different channel, but it's just like Curtis's channel, DK Media, and they've got the protests live, which is just a load of people standing around in the street being like, some of them are quite young and they're just, you know, they're on summer holidays and like go out and get on the streets and lads, and like, you know, a bunch of them have had a load of drinks. So it's not really a protest, is it? It's just like a load of people hanging around on the street, and the police presence is there, and there's like a tinderbox going on. We know about this sort of stuff anyway. But they've got one, haven't they? Look, there's one. Like, so they exist, yeah, these strange channels that are, you know, interesting point about Curtis Media. I can't say for sure, right, exactly who and whom is for real and for fakes and whatever motivations, can I? And I'm not going to point the finger at every social media user and say, if you're right wing, you're fake, because some of them are influenced by the influencers and then go on to become influencers even, don't they? So, you know, it's hard to know. But I would say, if you don't think there are any fake people on social, when I say fake, I mean run by an agency, run by, whether it be MI5 or Saatchi and Saatchi, you know, run by a separate private company to wanting to infect the narrative, push an agenda. And if they want to infect the narrative and push an agenda, they get several people, more than one, loads of them, and say, this is the agenda, pump this. You know, if you don't think that is actually happening, then I suppose you're naive, aren't you? Because it clearly is happening, isn't it? Loads of fake news. They call it Russian on TikTok, Twitter, because they don't want to admit it's UK based. But obviously a lot of that is happening. And channels like Truth Signal, channels, accounts, whatever, they look glaringly obvious to me what they are. Like, normal people post pictures there. I mean, even if you did see someone posting pictures of their dog and this and that, like, you can't know everything these days, can you? There might be fake people as well, or they might be the manipulated, but this doesn't, like, nobody uses social media like this unless that's what you are. So we've got that problem to start with this account. Next, it says Nicola Bulley body bombshell in capital letters, right? And then it says leaked side sonar scans that police hid from the inquest, proving Peter Faulding found, right? So this is the language of the mainstream tabloid media. This is written by someone who either thinks in the language of the mainstream tabloid media or who has written for the mainstream tabloid media. It's got a headline, Nicola Bulley, body bombshell. There's alliteration, Bulley, body bombshell. Leaked side sonar scans that police hid from the inquest, proving Peter. It's the same alliteration and formatting that you will see on the cover of on the headlines on the News of the World. It screams tabloid media, doesn't it? Like, it absolutely screams it. Nicola Bulley, body bombshell. Leaked signed sonar scans that police hid from the inquest, proving Peter Faulding found 161 centimetre tall female body shape dumped 70 metres from bench on island opposite abandoned house. 07223. Grabbed by police at night before planting dummy at tree. 19203. Okay, so we've got lots of problems here. First of all, the first problem here that is absolutely abundantly clear is leaked side sonar scans the police hid from the inquest. So if they're not in the inquest, right, first of all, we know that Peter Faulding did not supply them to the inquest, did he? They didn't hide them from the inquest. Peter said they had the inquest, they didn't invite him, they didn't ask him. There's a cat out there, I know. The thing that I'm pretty sure of is that whether Peter suggests that he gave this first image that he did on the first pass to the police or not, yeah, the subsequent imaging, this bit where it's coloured in, changed colours and all that, drawn round, he did that later. He says in that interview that he had to go back and he looked through them and then he was like checking through it and he came up with this later. You know, I'm pretty sure about that, yeah? Later on in today's stream, we'll go back and we'll dig around for that, because I don't want to sort of slow things down and mess up the run of this stream in that way. So, first of all, it says leaked side sonar scans that police hid from the inquest. I don't think the police did hide them from the inquest. I think they were discounted as in the earlier part of the investigation, if at all part of the investigation. You know, only going on what Peter's saying, really, isn't it? Discounted from the earlier part of the investigation. I'd have to go back over the reports of the inquests, not the inquest, the IOPC, you know, the what would you call it afterwards? Not the inquest into a death, but the inquest into the investigation afterwards. You know, I'd have to go into that. Big ups, Curious Cat. Big ups, Curious Cat. Big ups, Eve. How do you want me to pronounce your name? Evie J. Big ups Evie J. Hi, how are you doing? So basically what I'm saying is this says that proves that the police hid it from the inquest. I don't believe that's correct. Next, proving Peter... Oh, the little cat hairs are going up around my nose now. I'm going to start to get annoyed. Proving Peter Faulding found 161 centimetre tall female body shape. So this is really strangely worded, isn't it? This isn't proving that Peter Faulding found a body. This isn't proving that Peter Faulding found Nicola Bulley. This doesn't say proving that Peter Faulding... It says proving that Peter Faulding found 161 centimetre tall female body shape dumped 70 metres from bench. So why is the shape dumped? What they're doing is they're using careful language here so that, number one, they're not illegal. They're not, you can't say this is illegal and it's slander or libel or whatever because it says body shape. So it proves there's a body shape. You think the picture proves a body shape, that's fair enough. You can argue in court, that's your belief, yeah? But dumped. What they've actually done is said, Peter Faulding found female body dumped. Dumped. They've used the word dumped. If she went in and fell in and ended up there, why would she be dumped? Dumped is a different word. Dumped's not like... it's not correct here in this context to use that word. But they've done it deliberately. And they've done it deliberately, I'll tell you for why. Because Nicola Bulley, body bombshell, is alliteration. They put the little bit of punctuation in there. Leaked side sonar scans is alliteration. I think they're thinking about their words. And this is quite a big post, isn't it? They've decided to pin it. It hasn't got many views. It's only got 1,000 views, but it's only 2 hours in. It's Twitter. The idea, though, is that if you're going to be posting this on your Twitter, you are going to think carefully about what you're saying, yeah? So I believe they've thought carefully about that and decided to use the word dumped. Maybe it's on their mind. Shouts out, not more dumps. Who said that? Information dumps. Big ups, Lisa. I don't know. I don't think it is freezing. We are talking about somebody who has thought carefully about what they're writing. Either they've read a lot of newspapers or they've written for some because they're using the language of the tabloid media. They've used the word dumped to imply that she's been murdered and put in the river. They've said that proving Peter Faulding found her, this doesn't prove he found her. Anyway, we're going to get that, okay, bit by bit. So, proving Peter Faulding found, this doesn't prove that Peter Faulding found anything, these images, because none of these images have any distinguishing features on them. You can't see any, this is the zoomed in one, you can't see any data to say that this is from Peter Faulding's sonar. You can't say it's got the date on it. You can't say it's got the time on it. You can't say the distance and the size. You can't measure anything from it. There's no identifiable features. It sounds like what you would expect to see if you were looking at what Peter described. And there are problems. There are huge problems with it as well, which I'll get onto in a second. It sounds like what you'd expect to see, but or it looks like what you'd expect to see, but without those identifying features. And if you have the images, then you would probably have the metadata on the images, either from they haven't given us any evidence to prove this is true. This is real, and it's truth signal. So where's the truth? Where's the evidence? So that's a problem. There is also this watermark or whatever. It's their truth signal thing over the top, and the top left there's a I'd call it a watermark. It's like a little square. It's their truth signal image. So what you can say is that they photoshopped it with the words truth signal and follow the truth on it. So it's definitely been through some sort of photoshopping, whether it's on their phone or it's on their Photoshop. They've definitely done that part to it. So I don't know why they would do that. Actually, I don't know if English Gardener is a racist or not. I just recognise the name and hang on. I don't want to out people. They've put him in their post though, so it's a kind of funny one to me that they've put him in their post. And I kind of recognise the name, Richard 1942. Sounds like it might be getting a bit racist. Richard 1942. Are they not on here anymore? That's strange, isn't it, that they're not on here anymore? They might have changed their at handle. But obviously there's a lot of English gardeners out there, aren't there? You know? A lot of English gardeners out, English gardeners. But not the one I'm looking for. So that's strange. You know, going back to source, following things up, using a tweet as a source rather than the actual source itself is bad. Yeah, this is bad. So there's problems with the images. Like before we even look at the content of the images, there's problems with the way they're presented to us on this Twitter. There's problems with the way they've been fucked about with already to remove identifiable features that would actually corroborate where and when the images were collected, and to add things that would literally make it inadmissible in court. Yeah. So there's things, right? There's things. There's another aspect to this. So proving Peter Faulding founder, no it doesn't. I'm going to go through this word for word and break that down first. Proving Peter found for anything, no it doesn't. It doesn't prove even that these images are from Peter Faulding. So that's ridiculous. 161 centimetre tall. Okay, next. There is no identifiable measurement on here. There's a slight inclusion of a grid on this one. Like there's a line there, and there's a line across, I think. Maybe a green line across, I don't know. Maybe there's not an inclusion of a grid. So there's nothing to measure against. There's no guarantee that this is any part of anywhere, and without a sort of meter rule in, like, you know, they should put 1 meter equals on it, like a map. So there's no way of measuring against anything there. So no, I'm going to have to disagree that this proves anything about height or tall or anything. Female body shape. Well, you can argue about body shapes, but this doesn't prove anything. Dumped 70 metres from bench on island opposite abandoned house. Again, we know where that island part of the river is, and we know that later on Peter Faulding claims that that was where this shadow was seen, but this doesn't prove that this is where this is. It might turn out to be, and I might have to go, you know, oh Scott, you're going to eat your hat later when we prove it. Wait till we'll get to what I say about that in a second. It might turn out to be, but at the moment this is not that. Not that at all. Okay. Grabbed by police at night before planting dummy at tree. So the idea here, and this is why this last post is put in from English Gardener, we know that the police were out there searching that area in the dark on a certain date. We've looked like that was part of the Nicola Bulley, you know, investigation we did. So the idea there, I think that was the night they found what they described as a green chair, wasn't it, or something like that, green chair. And it's because Peter Faulding gave them intelligence to suggest there was something to be found there. So they went there and they searched it and they found nothing and told him, no, shut up, there's nothing. And I think they did it at night for 2 reasons. One, he told them at the end of the day, so it was already getting dark. 2, you might argue that they wanted the cover of darkness so that people couldn't see it. No, it's harder to search in the dark, isn't it? So 2, a sense of urgency, because if there is a body in the river, you must remove it immediately. You can't just say, all right, we'll come in the morning. Thanks for that, Peter. We'll come in tomorrow morning. So it might have been that sense of urgency. And there's pictures of that search. So what they're doing is they're trying to say that search was... during that search, the police removed Nicola Body's body and replaced it with something else. Because Peter Faulding went back afterwards, didn't he, and said he had a poke around. Or did they not replace it with anything? This one actually says planting dummy at tree. So they think that there is currently a dummy in the water because, remember, no one actually retrieved a body from here. So if you think they planted a dummy in the water in the same shape and layout as Nicola, but if you think one of these photos is before and after the dummy placement, is that what you think? This is getting a bit confused. So I'm trying to analyse what they've said, but I find this last part to be like total twaddle. Grabbed by police at night before planting dummy at tree. I just don't believe that. I think it's silly. And I think you could verify it because there's photographs of what the police were doing. So if they pulled the body out of the water, there might be some evidence of them fucking pulling the body out of the water. And second of all, if you think there's a dummy in there, then you can go and fish out the fucking dummy. Like many, many people continue to search after this event, after this date. So like the dummy might still be in there. So that's weird and bizarre, right? Going back to this though, the proof that it proves Peter Faulding did something, yeah? The idea that it proves it. In some people's mind, that is enough proof. They're the pictures Peter was talking about. You know, people who are just going to be swayed by any old bollocks on social media that then go out and have a riot about it. But for some people, that's enough proof. And it's not enough proof, basically. What have you sent me? Oh, the guy's still on Twitter, yeah, is he? Why didn't I find him then? Maybe he's blocked me. He's a reform person, former assistant chief constable at Staffordshire Uni, lecturing criminology. That sounds good. But he's a reformer. So just like a lot of these people, he's on the tweeting, pushing the political agenda. Like people might think I'm pushing a political agenda because sometimes I talk politics and give you my opinion and stuff. But I don't push an agenda. I did tell you to go out and vote. But it's different, isn't it? Like the way people have, like, you know, reform in their profile pictures and stuff. Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for that. This person thinks the state covered up Nicola's murder. That's what they think. Which is weird because, like, he's obviously in favour of a much more... the person I'm talking about is the guy in this third image that did this post, this tweet they've posted, English Gardener. They're actually arguing for a more hardline right-wing fascist state with reform. Like they're just the sort of, like, this is what annoys me about these people that voted for reform or Brexit or all this stuff, is they don't realise they're voting for 1984 and Big Brother. And they're being coerced into doing it because someone's pointing at immigrants. It's like Boris Johnson sat there with loads of cookies and he's pointing at the immigrants and saying he's trying to take your biscuit and you've only got one biscuit and Boris Johnson's got fucking loads of biscuits. If Boris Johnson just gave us all some biscuits, then we'd all have biscuits. But they've stolen everything and then they're making you argue with them over one biscuit. It's just stupid. So I don't trust anything that goes, on through their minds, through their social medias, yeah. So this person doesn't seem the best either. And it's weird that they're all sharing, like, it's not like with Nicola Bulley, right? With Nicola Bulley, in the reality of what we're doing on social media, it doesn't really matter about your politics, which is why in my Nicola Bulley content and on Super Chuffer, I was constantly saying, I don't really care about your politics. You're free to have your opinions. Say one thing about it if you want, and then shut up, because we're talking about Nicola Bulley. We're not going to have an argument over this, that, and the other. Like, politics isn't relevant, but I'm happy for everyone to listen and be part of the conversation. But when they go too far, having a go at each other in chat or saying some racist shit or something, they can get deleted. Since then, people have used my platform, my content, to try and infect it with political ideas, infect it with political arguments. I again point at Angry Eddie and some of his compadres who have done it with their own content. They are heavily politically motivated, they're secretive about it, and they come on in fake comments with, like, dark, weird, like, it doesn't look straight political, but it is quite political comment, and they can all go, as far as I'm concerned. I don't want them polluting my comments chains and my content with their shit ideas and their horrible nastiness, and a lot of them are fake anyway. So yeah, isn't it interesting with the Nicola Bulley thing that we've got two of them now connected to this one tweet, people that are interested in hard right-wing politics, Nigel Farage politics, right, Nigel Farage politics, and Nicola Bulley, and Jay Slater. It's almost as if they don't really give a fuck about Jay Slater and Nicola Bulley and the truth. They want to use things like that to manipulate people, and the people they want to manipulate include ladies of a certain age whose demographic they don't access when they do all their hate speech. The direct hate speech stuff that gets people on the streets doesn't usually work with some of those ladies. Some of them it does, but they're watching loose women, so you need to get at them through the loose women angle. They love a Mark Williams Thomas, don't they? It's that sort of sinister aspect that I hate about this, and there's so much of it with the Nicola Bulley and the Jay Slater I've saw recently. So much of it. So much of it. So yeah, I don't trust this. I don't trust the people who are sharing it. I don't trust the reasons they're sharing it. We've got further problems. Let's say, for example, this turns out, I look at this, that's Nicola Bulley, then that's guaranteed it, that's her, it proves it. 100% proves it. Let's say that. We've already discussed the idea that for some people it will prove it without any evidence, without any further, it doesn't say from where it's from or any of this, it doesn't matter, it proves it. Okay, let's say take another step and say for the people that require more evidence, it had the evidence. Let's imagine it did and it was right. Yeah, then I'd have to go, well, Peter Faulding's proved it. Yeah, he's right, he's proved it. But Peter Faulding didn't prove it, did he? This was leaked. So we need to address this. Leaked. This is big. I feel like I should be doing this on Super Chuff now. I'm in full flow, but all right, this is leaked. We'll upload this tomorrow as a premiere. This is leaked. Okay, so who's leaked it? Number one, Peter Faulding, obviously. He's got copies. It's in his interest to leak it, isn't it? We were asking about this for ages. Why don't you just leak it? If you're thinking, oh, I can't show it because it's Nicola Bulley, like you've got pictures of your Sonar victims of drowning victims on your Sonar in your book. So it's quite possible you could show these images. They're not actually gruesome images anyway. Like the fact you wouldn't leak them because of this, that and the other, I don't know why, because they're not that, it's just colours and shapes. So I think it's silly that you couldn't leak it, but he's, for moral reasons he couldn't leak it. So if it is Peter that leaked it, then he doesn't care about his morals, does he? So there's Peter could have done this, and if he had done it, he's an awful person. Yeah. He can also sidestep that, of course, by saying, well, these are leaked. I didn't do it. I wouldn't do it. They're leaked. So who else could leak it? We've got Luke could leak it. And he was priding himself on how he didn't leak things, how he kept stum, how he wouldn't. Peter showed him this ages ago and he wouldn't even mention it. So if he did leak it, he would ruin his relationship with Peter and he wouldn't be trustworthy. So if Luke's shared these, he's a liar, not trustworthy. Well, he is a liar and not trustworthy. We've already proved that on the internet already, right? Then on top of that, we've had all the cash for questions and the mess about with that. Then on top of that, right, Peter might say to him, can you please leak them? Those photos you've got, it's time to leak them. There's that. So Luke's a possibility. Then there's the lady who did the fortune telling and bought the scary doll, and she was on Sky News, the one that was promoting Luke's channel and Peter's interview. He told the world that she had seen them. She told the world that she'd seen them, sorry. So she could have leaked them. Again, if she has, she's not trustworthy, she's a liar, she's a fucking fortune teller. Like, she's not trustworthy, yeah? So she could have leaked them. The only other person that you could put on this list publicly is Laura, true crime analyst, who apparently was given this information and has seen these images. And again, like, you go through that same checklist of, like, if she had done it, would that destroy her reputation to make her untrustworthy? Well, not as bad, no. For Laura, true crime analyst, to release these, I thought she would have done it earlier because it's destroyed her reputation and made her look bad, that she would withhold things like this and just claim to have the elite status of having seen them. So maybe she's done it. But that's the only people I know publicly, other than his wife, has seen these, yeah? So somebody has had to leak them. There's another aspect to the leak. Leaking is also tabloid news all over, isn't it? Screams tabloid news, right? Another aspect of it, the tabloid news wouldn't touch it. Do you remember? Peter Faulding initially said to the police, right, well, if you don't fucking believe me, like, we'll see what goes on after that. The police immediately went to the tabloid news and did a press conference, not just the tabloid news, but the news, and said, so Peter Faulding's come forward, he's shown us these images, here are the images, right? And we think it's bollocks. So don't go believing it, don't go reporting it. If Peter Faulding comes to you, we've checked it, it's bollocks. These are the images, if they are the images that Peter Faulding forwarded, and we'll get to that point in just a second. If these are those images, then they've been cross-checked and verified by an independent expert. I think it was Cambridge University or something like that, wasn't it? So they could have leaked it as well, but I would think they wouldn't because it's against their principles and they've got no cause to. But they could have leaked it. yeah? The police themselves could have leaked it, or somehow in that meeting, that press conference, where I expect the police showed them the images and told them about them, but didn't give them, PDFs with the images on. I expect, but there's another place, there's another possibility. And since it's got all the language of the mainstream tired tabloid media, it feels like it was a tabloid media person. But again, couldn't Peter Faulding have contacted those tabloid media people and said, hey, for crying out loud, Peter, for crying out loud, The Sun, can you please publish these pictures? Leak them. And would they have done it? Maybe not. For them to set up, for like mainstream media to set up a shitty little Twitter account with like 1,000 people watching it doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, why would they leak it there? Well, it doesn't matter where it gets leaked as long as it gets perpetuated, as long as people like me are talking about it, which is why I don't want to jump straight on YouTube about it. As long as the idea gets out there will be people who see this and believe it, and it's about that ability to share it, isn't it? So reposting it. Can I see who reposted it? No, I can't see who's reposted it, but people have reposted it. So those are the people that you might then look at a bit more carefully. Some of them will just be people who saw it and reposted it, but some of them will be there to share it, to make sure it gets out, because it's about starting a little spark and then having the fire take hold. You don't have to start with a big fire, and you don't have to be a big media special, right, here's a big fire. They don't need to do that. Whomever is Truth Signal, whomever that is, doesn't need to do that, yeah? But somehow they've got hold of these images. Another really important point here, how have Truth Signal got hold of the images? Out of all those people who could have leaked them, either somebody off that list has given it to Truth Signal, contacted a tiny YouTube channel called Truth Signal UK, contacted a tiny channel called Truth Signal UK, right, with 4,000 followers. 4,000 followers, right, who's posting all stuff. I mean, look at how much stuff they've reposted and posted since I've been on stream, so I can't keep showing the violence, can I? We need to be really careful about that. They're on the internet a lot, reposting and posting and tweeting and tweeting and tweeting and retweeting, yeah? Almost like a fucking robot. But who's contacting them and this with those pictures? Why? They retweeted Tommy Robinson there, so that tells you all they need to know. That, if you retweet Tommy Robinson, I block you. Some of them I don't block because I want to keep up to date with what their fucking idiots are saying. But if you retweet Tommy Robinson, even if you follow me and you think you're good and you're helping, oh look, my Nicola Bulley update will take a few threads looking at unanswered questions. There's more Nicola Bulley. Do you see what I mean? How come you're into Nicola Bulley and Tommy Robinson? Like, you're prepared to really perpetuate all this right-wing shit, and then you want to feed off a story that angers Middle England. I think there's something going on here. I think there's a connection. I don't think they care about Nicola Bulley. I think they care about manipulating people into being more right-wing, and I think they do it by hijacking things like Nicola Bulley case. Yeah, that's what I think. Like Luke does. Like Luke said, he was into Andrew Tate and the Andrew Tate way, and that's all political. Andrew Tate, that's all that. And then he did his shows about like a little true crime here and a little thing there. Come off it. You're heavily political, you dick. Like, you're just not very smart, so you don't understand it. But this doesn't tie up to me. This doesn't make sense. Why on earth would someone share this stuff with... I'm looking for English Gardener there as well. Let me get that up, because you did share that with me, and it should work. Maybe he's blocked me. Maybe that's what it is, because... Big ups, Eddie. How are you doing, Eddie? While we're talking about this... Eddie, you fake, spook, dirty, disgusting, filthy, fake. How are you doing? You laughing about this, or is this annoying you that I see through all the bollocks? Is that what it is, Eddie? Is that annoying you? Or are you just here to see naked pictures of Nicola Bulley? She's got her clothes on in these. If she was in the river, if this is her, she's got her clothes on, Eddie, so she's not naked. Don't get excited. You sick man. So the aspect that I was talking about here is who is giving these images to Truth Signal, and how is Truth Signal sourcing them in order to put them on the internet. That's a huge big question mark, and a problem with the fact that they even exist. Yeah, huge problem with the fact that they even exist, isn't it? Like the Truth Signal has them, that has published them, the fact that the tweet exists, the fact there's some sort of contact between Truth Signal and whomever has access to these photographs and whomever has decided to leak them. Like, that entire chain of events is well sus. So it doesn't mean you should believe these pictures, it means they seem really dodgy. Really, really, really dodgy. Yeah? Because of that. And what that then says, you got to follow these things up. You can't just say, oh, right, well, I do think it's her or not. Okay, move on. What you've got to think is, who's publishing this? Why? How have they got the information? Like, those sort of questions. It means there's people working, and they are definitely working. You've just seen all these posts, yeah, hard on the indoctrination of a right-wing ideology through social media. They're working hard at that. Like, they're bad people. They are. It's not about whether you like politics or think Trump's good. And if you do, you're a bit of a chuffer, aren't you? Massive misogynist that Donald Trump is. Some people seem to be attracted to misogynists. Grab her right by the pussy, he said. It doesn't matter if you think he's a bit of a one and a bit of a this and a bit of that. What I'm talking actually here is more insidious than that. It's darker and it's dirty and it's horrible. It's nationalism, it's racism, it's right-wing politics, and it's the infection, the crossover between good people like me on the internet talking about stuff that's fun, body language reacts, and trying to find the truth for something quite tragic like Nicola Bulley, yeah? Like, we just stumbled into that as a channel, and it went really well, and we were having a good time, and we did some great body language reacts. We did help to find some deeper ideas, and I have done some really interesting investigation that has led to more deep ideas, so that's gone really well. But for some reason, right-wing politics wants to come in and affect it and infect it and have a big argument and have all these problems. And there's something really weird about it, isn't there? There's something really tabloid newspaper about it. And I also think there's a connection whether I think people like Chris's Substack think it's the Masons or the Illuminati, or it's all a psyop or whatever, yeah? It's all the deep state. I don't think it quite is that, but I think the people that fund the Conservative Party and the biggest drug dealers in the country and the biggest, like, imagine the 3 or 4 biggest, richest people. They include, like, the 5 or 6, the room those people that are in that room. That includes the arms manufacturers and salespeople that run that, the big landowners, the big wealthy conservatives, the big landowners, the lauded gentry and all that, the big Russian landowners, because they own half of London now, don't they? The big Saudi money, there's a lot of Saudi money. You're also going to get the pharmaceutical companies. They're going to be in that top table because they pharmaceutical companies, isn't it? Like, running all that stuff and the NHS and all that. Like, so then you've got also drug dealers, because like they don't just go around pretending to be drug dealers their whole life. They try and show that they're reputable. They take all that dirty money and then they launder it and put it into business, don't they? And they like become big business. You've seen it on the telly. They're like big business drug dealers. So like you've got like a lot of big money at this top table that has an interest in certain things. I don't think it like has to necessarily be lizard Jews running it from space with like tinfoil hat. Just like, you don't have to get all flat earth on us, but there are bad people who are infecting our society with their terrible ideas because they're selfish and use it to get rich, aren't there? So it is a bit of a savagery, but that's sort of going on, and the more and more we can see it. Like, I think people thought this weekend that there'd be this big right-wing outpouring and we'll go out and we'll show all those Muslims, but the stupidity of it for them is that the retaliation and response is that the people want to shut those people down, and there's more of us than there are of them, like, so they lose. But on social media it's not like that. Like, it's hard for all the good people to drown out these idiots on social media because numbers don't directly, it's not about number of likes or anything, is it? It's not about bodies on the street and voices heard. It's different on social media. You can fake it, you can steal it, you can cheat it, and there's so many, like, people who've got no morals will pay for views on their TikToks, on their YouTubes, on their whatever. Luke does it, Alan does it, there's another one, isn't there, like a new Alan that I talk about that's doing it, and it's obvious. Like, there's loads of them that do it. They don't care. They don't have any sense of morality. They just want to get ahead for themselves and for their, and that's all this right-wing bollocks as well, isn't it? They all seem to be in on that too, because it goes hand in hand. Being selfish and being a nasty, selfish person goes hand in hand with being whatever you want to call it, a Satanist, a right-winger, or whatever. They all go hand in hand. So you've got this overlap here, and it's like strange and disgusting, isn't it? You know, it's strange and disgusting. So we're going to get into the image, of course. You want me to, I'm ranting politically now, but here it is presented in my face on a political platform. Like, Twitter's political, the channel's political, the person that they've referenced is political. So sorry that we had to talk politics, but like, it's depraved the way they're using tragedies to leverage politics like this. It's depraved. Sorry about your potatoes, Flying Freddy. I ate my little pita bread before I came on. It's depraved. Yeah. So with that all said, right, I don't believe that the police have taken a body out and put a dummy in. That's bizarre and strange. Is this Nicola Bulley on the Sonar? You know, with everything I've just said, is this Nicola Bulley on the Sonar? So we've got this image, this one that's obviously been messed about with a blue line drawn around it, and then the images of the people searching, which are irrelevant, right? So we've got 3 images to analyse as Sonar experts. And remember, you and I are as expert as Peter Faulding when it comes to this. Insofar as you don't have any official qualifications, and nor do I, and nor does he. So, read the replies. What, to the tweets? One of them's from an account I blocked. Yeah, I can read the replies, I think, yeah. Obviously, if they make me look stupid in some way, I was worried. But I'm careful. I'm a bit careful. I don't want everyone else's social medias to be sort of like presented on my channel here like this. No, that doesn't look like anything. Unfortunately, I think Peter Faulding is suspect as Mark Williams Thomas. Seen these months ago, although I believe Peter, these images show nothing, no proof it's her, no data, no depth, no nothing. I don't know where they've seen them months ago. This is from someone I blocked. Truth Signal. 1 officer is dead, 1 sacked, several suspended. They had the data, so a lot being done with them. About time the truth started to come out. I'm sure the post is later corrected from Richard. Here's the video to accompany the post. So they got the date wrong. Richard's post has got the date wrong. And Peter Faulding, are these yours? That's the comments there. I was a bit worried then that these might be images that have been passed around before, and I'm jumping on like, oh my god, look, new images, and they're rotten. Like, I don't want to be presenting what I think are new images if they're old images, do I? But I haven't. To me, I haven't seen them before. But then again, I steer very clear of bullshit on the internet, don't I? I don't bring any bullshit on the internet to present to anyone. It's an image from Mars. Where's Sharon's? Seen these months ago, I believe Peter. These images show nothing. No proof it's her, no data, no depth, no nothing. What do you do with them? Nothing, yeah. Like, I agree with that. Like, that's what I've been saying already, is the depth and the depth. But where she says seen them months ago, I don't know. I think that's strange, because I don't know where she's seen them months ago. But I'm really, I don't necessarily, the person that was posted in the thing, that I recognised the name and it seemed quite racist, I was prepared to look at that, but I suppose I can do it in another window. I don't really want to, I want to be careful about private people. It's public social media, but, people on social media that might be real, and me putting them on the show and, having a thing on their social media about it. They follow me for a start. But they're retweeting that all nationalists need to stand together as the global left is challenging the integrity of every nation. They're a racist. retweeting all the bollocks. It's sad. I mean, they'll say I'm not a racist, no. And they've got Nicola Bulley psyop tweets as well. But they follow me. You know, they follow me. I'll block them anyway. I'll block them. Because I can't stand that stuff. But so, like, this Sharon, though, that you're saying to look at the thing, yeah? So who is Sharon, though, right? You know, I just blocked them, yeah? But who is even someone just called Sharon? That have they posted anything? No. Like, do they... I know they have posted stuff, their own media. So they posted dogs and cats. But, like, you know, how do I even know they're a real person? On social, they might be, but on social media, it's just a name. Like, it's just a thing, isn't it? Like, if you're sat right here in front of the camera like me, talking all the time, you're pretty sure it's me. But if it's just some name on Twitter, I don't even, like, even if it is the name of the person that comes into my, like, if one of you had a Twitter account and I'm talking to you on Twitter, is it always 100% you that's doing the tweets? Like, I assume you don't have a social media office that does them for you, but a lot of people do on Twitter. And it could even be just like, you know, you pass it to your friend and say, oh, just say this to him, please, or anything. Like, you know, people are just so naive about believing everything on social media, aren't they? But, yeah. I don't really know what it means, what Sharon's written there, whether she's seen them before or where she's seen them before, but she's poo-pooing them that they don't look right, like that they don't prove anything. So I agree. This is an important point, though, right? What are bots? Steve, you know when we just had someone in chat saying you can get great views on a channel and stuff, they're not really run by, there's no one sat at a keyboard writing that out on people's chats. They just run a load of fake social media accounts, and they call it a robot. It's not a robot, it's a computer doing it, but they're bot accounts, yeah, fake accounts, you know. They're all over Twitch saying, do you want to get big on Twitch? Follow this thing, you know. So yeah, listen, there's more to this, right? We haven't even started looking at the actual contents of the pictures, but there's more to this, which is if it turns out that these pictures are very good and everyone likes them and everyone thinks that proves Nicola Bulley's really in the water, then Peter Faulding can come out and he can stand by them and say, yes, these are the images, look, here's, I don't know how people have got them, but now that they're out, here's the official source, here's the real, this is my thing that I got, and he can stand by them, yeah? Knowing that everyone will, like, stand by it. Like, if it's just a matter of validity, but if people say, I don't know where it's from, but it looks like a real person, he can say, well, here's where it's from, it's from me. But if it is poo-pooed and ripped apart, if people see the obvious flaw in it, and there are obvious flaws in it, if people see the obvious flaw in it, then he can't put it out there. He can't, you know, if someone spots it and tears it apart, he can't do it, can he? It's like showing someone the magic trick, but not the magician. And then if they like the magic trick, you can come out and say, I'm the magician, the great magician. And if they say, oh, I can see he's holding it there and pulling it on a string, you can say, well, I didn't do it. Don't know who did that. I'm a great magician, you know? So it's a testing the water. And if it goes well, he can come out and stand by it. And if it goes badly, he never has to pretend that, he can pretend they didn't even come from him. This isn't even the image. Obviously, Luke knows what Peter showed him. A couple of people know what he showed him, so they will know if these are the images he showed them. But he doesn't have to stand by them in public, does he? He doesn't have to stand by them in public, unless everyone thinks they're brilliant, and then he can stand by them in public. Or maybe he doesn't need to stand by them in public, because he can just say that they are what they are, and then the public can just, you know, make up the right... Like, there will be people out there to whom this will be enough, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm saying with that, yeah? So I believe that whomever has leaked them, it serves a dual purpose for Peter Faulding, which is to test the water of public opinion, both to see how well it's received and whether people believe it, and secondly, to see if anyone's interested as well, because I don't know how many people are actually going to give a fuck. Yeah, so there's dual things. Right, so can you tell anything from the images? First of all, sonar experts we are not. well, it's not that hard to fucking understand sonar, is it, Peter fucking Faulding? First of all, we need some sort of identifiable marker on the image to show us the distance and the space relative. There's nothing here for us to do that, right? And I'm not thick like Luke, so, you know, I don't need you to explain to me what a shadow is and how sonar works, do I? You've got a thing that you're dragging in the water, right? And the thing in the water gives off echo sonar waves, doesn't it? Like sound waves, and they hit things and they bounce back and then it creates the image. So if it hits something, it's going to create the image. The sort of shadow effect is where those echo waves can't hit, because they hit against, they come back, so there's nothing behind it, there's like a darkness, but they can go around it, so it creates like a shadow, doesn't it, where they do and don't hit, right? And it's all determined on where you drag that sonar down the middle of the river, isn't it? It's all determined on whether that like, so to either side of it you get an image, and in the middle you do get blackness where it doesn't, like, I'm pretty sure we've seen some images like that, haven't we? So here from SGI Training, Peter Faulding on LinkedIn, you can see that down the centre line, the centre line is where they drag the actual sonar. Yeah, that's where they actually, that's the thing that the boat's going down there, and the actual thing is in the middle of there being dragged, and it's deeper and it's darker, and they're not getting any hits. On the side here is where the thing echoing comes back, it hits something and it comes back and it shows you what it hits and it comes back against. So what we're not seeing in the image, you know, we should be seeing a fairly symmetrical image, shouldn't we? Like, these images have the middle bit where you drag the sonar down the middle. We should be seeing that. We're not seeing that. So we're seeing a cut-out section. Yeah? Am I to assume this section here is the middle, and this is the cut-out section from the side? You understand what I'm saying? We're not seeing the full image. So that makes it infinitely harder for us to locate the place, you know, to geolocate ourselves on the image where we are, and the scale, etc., doesn't it? It makes it infinitely harder. So now what you're asking is, does this funny shape seem like, so I'm going to assume this is the centre and the shadow is being cast this way because the sonar's gone past this way, yeah? So this would be her back, and this would be the middle of the river. So this would be the bank on this side. So where's the fucking tree stump thing? She's on this side of it. You're going down past. We know that's the side with the house. So the tree stump thing is behind her there, yeah? Behind her. That's what you're suggesting. Okay. Next image is zoomed in and change colours. I believe that's just an inversion of the colours. It's not actually, is it? It's not just an inversion, because we're looking at red and yellow, and now we're looking at black and yellow and red. It's not just, it's not just a negative, is it? Because it'd be cyan, magenta, yellow would come into it, but cyan would come into it. But that, you know, that makes it even more easy to see, doesn't it? This image doesn't look right with the head. Like, if you're going to say it's important that we just sort of go on it because it looks a bit like, and I know that we're ignoring the shadow, Peter, and I know that the thing looks different on the sonar, but that's the whole point, isn't it? So you're saying the back end looks a little bit like a lady's arse end and some legs, and it it's like looking at clouds now. This is pareidolia in clouds. It kind of does, but the top end does not look like a lady's head whatsoever. Not at all. And the tightness of the waist, the lack of arms. Oh, apparently your arms are out in front like this, but I don't think it does look like a lady's form, to be honest. I think you don't know enough about ladies' forms as well. It looks like the buttocks really protrude quite heavily. Almost like, to be honest, I don't think those buttocks look like a lady's buttocks. I think that's you seeing lady shapes in clouds. I think when you look at it for what it really is. It looks like a bloody cave painting of a thumb or something. It really does not look like a lady. Just the buttock end. And listen, it's squashed the way... Oh, that's the sonar doing it. It's not. If I do this for you, I'll be able to pull it out like this. If I pull it out like this and stretch it, it will start to look more like a female form, because it needs to be stretched like that to actually be more biologically correct. It doesn't... When you put it back, it doesn't, it doesn't look like that. It's very... And that's the angle, because the sonar, isn't it, and all that. Oh, obviously, come on. Come on. You know how shallow that water is. Come on. I find it very difficult to believe that that is a human body on the sonar. I find it difficult. I mean, obviously Peter Faulding found it very difficult as well, because he might have alerted the police to it, but he didn't have any strong feelings on it, did he? Look. Our next image is the same thing, but now we painted blue lines around it, and it makes it even more difficult to prove that it's actually a body. And I'll tell you why I think that. Because, as I said, look at the backside. Look at the arse end. That's not right. They've drawn the leg wrong as well, the way the leg comes down. Because in the previous picture, the legs seem to be out in front and up. So, are you also saying it's down and behind? Like, how long do you think her leg is? Honestly, how long do you think her leg is? We've got nothing in the picture to give us a relevant relative size, but how long do you think her leg is? And that woman said she could see her foot and everything. You can't see her foot and everything. I think her arms don't look right there either. Her shoulders don't look right. That's not a head. I think you can make it seem like that in your imagination. Her coat, yeah. Good question. Where's her coat? How would that not cover her in these different ways? It's a real reach, isn't it? It's a real reach. And I don't think there's any amount of pretending that I'm not a sonar expert, so I don't understand how to read sonar, that's going to make me believe that that is definitely a body. In other SGI training video images, I don't think it's... I think it's different. Look. That one hasn't got a head either, has it? I mean, it's different size and scale, is it? I don't think the green... Is the green one a body, is it? That one might be, and the one at the top might be the tree root, because these might not be bodies in this image, remember? Just because they're training images doesn't mean they're bodies. And it's the scale of it, isn't it, as well? I'd like to see something that is confirmed as a body on one of his images. There's one, isn't there? I mean, it looks like photographs from space or something, like someone said earlier about Mars, but that looks more clearly like features identifiable as a body, doesn't it? I know you're going to get different images, aren't you? Maybe I shouldn't be doing images of bodies. Something I critique Peter for. This is the one that Alan used to pretend was Nicola Bulley, if you remember, on his TikTok after Peter had said he had a picture of it. Very marked differences in the way the images appear when it really is. I think I'm tired of looking at those. It's making me cross now, to be honest. I don't think that it looks like a body at all. I mean, I think it looks like a body to an uninitiated idiot who sees women's arses all over the show. Oh, that looks a bit like an arse. But I don't have any faith in calling that a hit on the sonar. Yeah, I could look on a forensics website. I don't want to. No, I don't want to. In the past I have. Like, I can't be arsed with it. I'm tired. It's the weekend. I just wanted to call out bollocks. You know, I'm sure Kelly could do that with someone. At this point, I don't even have to pretend to know to become a sonar expert. I think any expert or non-expert can see that that's not Nicola Bulley's body. And I've got another question about it. So what about this shadow that it casts? Yeah? Like, the shadow's not a nothing, is it? Oh, it's all distorted because it's a shadow. Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay. But it's still the shadow of the thing that you're looking at, yeah? So it gives you more perspective on what it is. So this thing that's casting a shadow has angles, has bits sticking off it. Like, this part here is sticking off it like that, like a twig. It's got a sharp angle on it at some point there, look. Like, it doesn't look like some buttocks or a head or anything, does it? Like, there are other aspects of this. You're seeing what you think is someone lying down because you're seeing from top down what the sonar is showing you from its side scanning, yeah? But you're not seeing the 3 dimensions, are you? Like, you're not seeing how up high it comes out of the water or not, or anything like that. So from one angle, it looks very, it's like doing this with your hand on a shadow puppet, you know. From one angle it looks like a dog barking, but from another angle it looks like this, with something sticking up and out, and you know, from that angle it might look like a woman's body, but from this angle it doesn't look so much like a woman, like it's got something you're not seeing the other angle, but the shadow's showing it you. And I think this is why I said earlier, like, he's checking to see if anyone spots this. I think people who analyse the shadows as well, and you could probably say, well, the shadow's distorted, well, the shadow's this and this that, but it's part of the image, and it doesn't look right. It doesn't look correct if this was going to be a human body, that you would cast this shadow from it, that sonar shadow. It doesn't. I don't think that would be the style of shadow that was cast. So it doesn't detect shadow. What it did, or light, what it is I said this just a minute ago, it is the light. The sonar wave, the sound wave, the sonar wave is the light, isn't it? Like, you see light because it reflects off things and bounces back to your eyes. This creates this picture because those waves bounce back off things and hit your eyes, or create the picture. So where it hits something, there's no wave getting through, so behind it will cast a sonic shadow, won't it? It'll cast that black shadow, because there's no waves getting to it to return to the sonar reader. But waves will get around it, and you know, and things like that. So it'll indicate how tall something is or how short it is. Okay, it won't be accurate because it's a shadow being cast, but the way the shadow is cast will act. Like, hopefully Peter will understand how his sonar, I mean, we're not giving the information here whether the sonar was high up in the water or low down in the water, but he will understand how far the shadow would be cast off an item from his sonar, and he can work that in. Like, you could probably take that. What you could probably do with this is say, that's the shadow that's being cast, but, and this is inadmissible in court because I'm about to fuck about with it, but I could squash it down like this, look. Yeah? You see what I'm saying? Like, because it's being cast out and elongated, I could squash it down. Why did it go back? Squash it down like that. Fuck off. Just want it really big so that I can show you what I'm talking about. Look, when I squash it down, that's a more reasonable image of what would have been, you know, what you could see if you were looking at this item from the side. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I can't get my words out properly, but I know what I'm trying to say. Like, that shadow that I've now squashed and rotated is, you're looking down on top of an image of what looks like a body, but I'm looking across at something, and that's what I'm seeing. The shadow it creates, the silhouette, and the silhouette does not look like a fucking body. It looks like a great big tree stumpy thing with a chair stuck on it. It's got all bits sticking out at the one end, like a tree there, all bits. My mouse has gone all weird now. It's got all bits sticking out like that, like a tree. Yeah, and it's got all angular, sharp corners like a garden chair or a fucking fridge in the water. It looks like a massive tree stump with a fridge on it or a big chair, which is what they found, isn't it? A chair or something. You see the sharp angles on that and the sticky out. If that's supposed to be her head at that one end, no wait, the sticky out bit of that is the head end. That's her head end. Or maybe there's a bit of wood sticking out as well, and it's masking the fact that that's her head, that little curve. You know what I'm saying? But like ultimately, this is the shadow cast from this thing that's in the water, and I've squashed it and rotated it so you can see it a bit more like you were looking at it across the water. If you're in the water and you're looking directly at it like that, not top down like the image, but directly at it, that's the sort of thing you would see in the water, that shape. So it does not look like a body at all. Not at all. The top down thing looks a bit like a body, but the side on thing doesn't. And I know it's not the actual image, it's the shadow where the sonar couldn't see, cast by the... But that's like me holding something up in front of the thing and saying it doesn't... That's a picture of a dog, because it's cast by my hand. So you're seeing this side of it. You've already seen that side of it, the top down. You've already seen that, but now you're seeing this side of it. What you can't see is that, I suppose. You can't see the other angle on it. You know, so we're missing angles, but we're trying to create a 3D image in our mind. And what we're doing when we look at this picture is we're just using that top down to say, oh, it looks a bit like a bum. Bums are curvy, they go up this high, that's a woman. But we're not seeing how high it goes up or how low it goes up or whether it goes up and down and up and down. Like the head end might be buried deeper or higher. Or maybe the height is shown by the sonar colour. Maybe that's shown by the sonar colour, the colour of the sonar. But I don't think it is necessarily. Is it deeper is darker? Is that what it is? Is deeper darker? I don't know. Because if it is, then it's pretty high up and out the water. So you could have gone over and touched it. And then this is the next question, is if you see that on your sonar and it looks like the shape of a body and it is within a couple of meters depth and you're going past on your boat more than once, how didn't you find her? How didn't you find her? I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying. I might be 100% wrong here, but I think I'm pretty confident in what I'm saying, which is that when you translate that shadow into a, you know, looking at it from the way it's cast, it doesn't seem right. It doesn't look right to me. I don't think a body casts that shadow. In fact, if that's her body there as well, why does it do that to me? It keeps going reset back to the thing. Squashing it down a bit there as well, because I'm changing it now as though, like, I can see why it looks like a female form at the back, but I don't think you really know what women actually look like in reality. Like, it looks like one, but a cartoon one. And then at the top, there's no head and there's no shoulders. Like, that's hugely problematic. And then down the bottom here, there's only one leg, and the other leg can't be buried in the sediment, like up to the knee. So there's only one leg, and this leg's bent funny there, like it's broken. And her leg wasn't broken in the autopsy report. But your leg can't bend like that. Like, there's your knee, and then there's what? And then there's your... Like, that doesn't make sense either. And you can't see her feet. Do you know what even makes me more worried is that all you have to do to make this look like this is paint on a bit of yellow. Like, so, like, you could really make this image look more and more like a woman just by dabbing in some yellow pixels. I find this really difficult to believe. So I think that's what's happened here, is I think Peter Faulding has decided to... Sorry. What I think has happened here is that this is being used as a test run to see if people will believe it or spot the faults in it. Really, I'd like to hear what a sonar expert thinks about it. As I'm not going to claim to be one. I find this to be even more difficult, drawing the blue line around it, because I wouldn't have drawn my blue line exactly there. I'd have drawn it differently. So, looks like she's got a weenus in that one. I find the blue line to be very difficult. Yeah, So I've had to cover that, haven't I? Like, kind of, it's Nicola Bulley stuff. Nicola Bulley's Sonar image is finally released, but I don't trust. I mean, in a way, I trust that they are the images that Peter Faulding tried to pass off, and that this is a sort of check to see if they can be passed off. But I don't trust that they are Nicola Bulley in the water in any way, shape, or form. I don't even know whether they're from that particular. I'd have to do more investigation to decide if that was the. Like, this is another. Okay, let's finally do this. What's the best video for this? There's Peter on his sonar. The dickhead. I mean, I just want to, a view on that river. To see what they're talking. I should have a go-to video for this, shouldn't I? Not body was found. Not body was found. It's annoying me. I haven't seen this one. Video disproves theory Nicola Bulley was in river, according to forensic expert. When was this? A year ago. A forensic expert who led the search for Nicola Bulley, it's Peter Faulding they're talking about, believes this video disproves the theory that she fell in. Is it Peter Faulding? Who's the forensics expert they're talking about here? This is from The Independent, who led the search. Believes this video disproves the theory she fell in. Is that where she was found, or is that bit of island? The footage shows the stretch of the river where the mother of two is feared to have fallen. No, it doesn't. This isn't the bench, is it? Is that bit of island? Like, it doesn't look correct in terms of what we've just seen on the sonar, but... Peter Faulding says the river is slow moving, meaning that if she was in the river, her body should be nearby. So is this Faulding who said this then? Very strange. And this video is the one that disproves it. Mr. Faulding, who has worked on cases involving serial killers, was drafted in to help with the Lancashire Police. The 45-year-old has been missing since January the 27th after she disappeared while taking her dog for a walk. Yeah. This video proves that she's not in the river. And it's apparently Peter Faulding they're talking about. And it looks to be... I mean, I'm not saying that is that bit of river, but, why this bit of river that we're seeing? I haven't seen this video before from The Independent. It doesn't seem to say or do anything. It was from February the 10th. It's a fucking weird video, this one, isn't it? Shot at night, it doesn't look like we're moving about, and looks like a very stable. Obviously, it's zoomed out, but it looks like a very stable image. It doesn't look like we're on a boat. It's not a very good image because it, like, maybe it's due to the upload quality of the newspaper that uploaded it, but it's not very crystal clear here, is it? The stupid music behind it can go. Actually, where's my stupid music, Chopin? Thank you. Come back, Chopin. Chopin. Thanks. I just find this really spooky, though. It just feels like someone's scouting in, like, locations. If you know what I mean, like someone's like filming a location and saying, "What do you think of this?" Apparently, this video disproves the theory she was in the river. I mean, there's a stick. I think it's the stick they're filming. I think it's that stick, maybe. Because I thought it was this that they were filming, like this area, but it's a stick, and the stick's not moving. So they're trying to show that the river's slow. That's what it is. That's what it is. I just wanted to get a look on that area of the river. Like, because that's it there. That's there, isn't it? Got it. So this is the bench. Reset the transform. This is the bench. And in the centre of the river down there is this exact little island that we are looking at on the sonar, apparently, where Nicola Bulley was apparently found, isn't it? Yeah? Or not found, or saw her on the sonar, isn't it? Because that's the abandoned house over behind that beyond that corner. I think I'm right. Aren't I? Let me just check on the map. I think it's funny that I know my way up on this map now so well. We've got the bench, we go in, this is the abandoned house, that's the little island. Yeah, it's all within this little... Sorry. We've got the bench. There's the abandoned house, there's the little island. And this is all before the weir as well, isn't it? Like the weir, the river flow down to the weir comes down here, doesn't it? And the weir's over here, whether she floated over the weir or not. And then they had the diver that was floating around in the water under here, and she'd have had to come around this bend and at some point, you know, float up and come all the way down here and all the way down here over these shallows and these banks and through this very tight shallow area, all floating up to around here, down all the way down here and up here again past another banking corner, to eventually be found floating around this area. But yeah, apparently she went in over here, yeah, and we're talking about this being on the sonar. So it goes up and it comes round. Oh, it looks squashed here. Like this looks squashed to me, like squashed that way. Has that been done to it to make it look more like a thing? Squashing it. Because it comes up and it's like a mirror image though, isn't it? It's like the opposite image. And the house is up there. So he's chugged his boat past. He's gone past down here. And he's got an image of this side. So these images that we're being shown here, they're like upside down, aren't they? Like on this image, the house is on our left. And then when we look at it on Google Maps here, the house is on our right. Can I rotate Google Maps? He'd have gone down this way, back up this way. I suppose all roads lead to Rome. It's all the same way up, isn't it? As long as it's the right. That's the island. He's literally chugged his boat down there. He's saying that she's there. Now, what I was concerned to do here now was just to confirm that I can see the other features of the geography that I'm supposed to see. The island, the banks, you know, for it to all make sense. So I could say, there's the house there, this is this bit. But when I'm looking at it immediately, what I see is I feel that it's stretched out of shape. Because this is a much more, like, I mean, I can't see the underwater aspect of it, but it's a much more elongated curve. Whereas the curve that I'm seeing, I mean, this is maybe the river comes up and down, and this is a Google Maps image, not, you know, not that accurate maybe, but and this is supposed to be some super sonar, isn't it? But this looks a lot more squashed up the curve and a lot more spacious, the depth there. It's all relative, isn't it? But I just don't feel that I'm getting a very good feel that that feels right to me now. This is what I think has been done with these images, is so that people like us come and pull them apart, and then they can say, right, and they're probably, when Peter Faulding does release an image, he'll probably address all the things I'm doing and make the image better. Lol. Yeah, let's put it this way. Look, see, if I put it that way, doesn't that look more like the actual realistic shape of the land? On this particular piece of, like, curve. I think it needs to be pulled out like that. I think the image has been squashed down. I mean, that gives you problems as well, doesn't it? It creates loads of problems. Or maybe the sonar just squashes because of the speed you're going at. Maybe it's that. You know, maybe the image comes out differently depending. Like, if you went really fast, it would stretch out, wouldn't it? And if you went really slow, it would squash together because you get more read more frequently. Maybe it's that. Maybe it denotes the speed of the boat on how squashed it is. But then you still have to look at the image and then be able to decipher it. So unsquashing it would probably be a good idea. I think it looks, I've said this a number of times now, but again, I'm going to really repeat myself one more time, and then I'll probably just end this thing saying about this. But this head, like this head end, yeah, that looks a bit like a human head, but not enough. And the fact that the neck looks separate to the back, like that's the shape there. Like the head, like it looks like there's an actual divide, doesn't it, between this point here. There's like a divide. It just, like, if you just took the head end, if you said, right, this is Nicola Bulley, it looks like a backside, rah rah rah, you know, and all that, yeah. But if you just took the head end, it doesn't. There's nothing there. It absolutely does not look like an image of it as a person. Not even because Sonar looks a bit funny or this or that. No, it just doesn't look like a hit. There's nothing there to suggest that would be a person, other than an object is there, not a human. Not on the Sonar. Well, Sonar can't give you that sort of thing, can it? Well, then apparently it can for the legs. Really super duper, just like a woman, a hottie woman at that, with a real thin waist, a big arse, massive arse. Her legs, like, conceivably. Like, if that's her knee, see, we're looking at scale again. If that's her knee, if all of this is her knee, then that's acceptable, yeah? Because the whole aspect, like, curvature of it. If that's her knee there, and then her leg comes down and then across, that's not acceptable. And her leg's all out of shape, like, size print, like, in terms of the size of her leg, you know? And where does the coat end, and are we seeing any material, like, you know, the material that your clothing is made out of or anything like that? I just don't think it does. Again, I think when you take individual sections of it and zoom in on them and, like, say, does that really look like a leg, or does that really look like a head? No. But I think if you just take the knees and the arse and, like, you know, look at the whole thing, you can say, well, it looks like a bit like a knees and an arse. But, you know, there's problems. I mean, even the leg there, like, this looks like the same colour as this, yeah, but here it looks like there's a black line in the middle, there's some sort of connector thing here, and then there's this piece here. So this might not even be connected to this, you know. And if I was looking at this as a Sonar expert, I'd say this looks like a torso that's had its legs and arms chopped off. Not a complete one. There's also another strange part of it, which is this black line here. Like the way these black lines eat into her, whether it's a stomach or a leg, that I don't think that creates the image that looks like a rib cage. But, you know, look at the actual thinness of what is apparently there for her waist. I just don't think that works. I think it makes it look like a rib cage, but I don't think it's right that it actually is. If you know what I mean. Yeah. I'll tell you what I feel like if I was to give my gut feeling as well, is I feel like what it looks like is it looks like something that could have looked like a lady that you've made to look more like a lady by painting it a bit yellow. If you know what I mean. I feel like I could get this in PC Paint now and start adding on a few pixels here and there and just really, and like Peter Faulding, I'm not saying he did that, but what I am saying about him is that he was a desperate man, desperate for having a picture of Nicola Bulley on his Sonar scanners, because if he did, jackpot, bingo, career saved, and if he didn't, it could lose the house, the farm, everything. Like in that moment, knowing he was, I'm not saying he would have lost the farm, I'm saying in that moment, thinking that he could lose his contract with the police, his public image, everything, like, if he was proved that he said he found her and he didn't, and this and that, like, sorry, the police were about to throw him under the bus and say that he was a bad person, get him off the case and all that, on that report, and he was about to lose his contract with the police and his public face and being able to talk to the media, wasn't he? So like, he might have felt that so much was at stake, he really needed to have this picture, and like, if someone's desperate, they might do something. He might have done a better job of making it look like a head, actually, if he'd done that. But it's a very easy picture to doctor, isn't it? It's a very easy picture to manipulate. All you have to do is just click on a bit of yellow, and then you've got a bit of yellow on there. But he'll say he's got all the actual the actual sonar data recorded in the computer system. So good, right? But we don't have it, so. I think that oh, you've done a quick Google search and you've seen a sonar resolution. Yeah, okay. Okay. We could probably do a bit of that. That probably makes sense. Google 50 kilohertz sonar images. It's 50, isn't it? He's got. And this is the other thing, is he would have all other information like this, you see. Like, he shows us this very naive image, like, but surely the sonar can create other images, like 3D images for a start. Maybe he's just not got the best sonar, but side scanning sonar like this should be able to create, should be able to create a more 3D image, shouldn't it, like this? So maybe he's just not got the best stuff, but we always get this sort of top-down image, don't we, from him? This one. This sort of image. But even here it's a clearer image, isn't it? Yeah. Maybe he's not using it properly, maybe he's not dragging it right. But here they see, this is what annoys me about what he's shown us, is here they're showing, I suppose these are fish, but they're showing the depth of the fish, aren't they? Because they've got that other plane, that other angle on it. So they're able to show you the other angles. So those shadows are actually cast beneath the fish in terms of depth as well, aren't they? And on Faulding's image, sorry, this image, that could indicate depth or height of this, the way the shadow's cast from it. But again, we're not shown that, are we? That's a really strange thing, isn't it? To not be shown, because I assume he's got this data as well. Well, I suppose it's a leak, so you're just getting a leak, aren't you? You're not getting all the data. Why am I not getting any more better images of this? Side scan sonar. Here's some side scan sonar images then, yeah. That's 600 kilohertz. I think his is 50 though, so I don't think it's as good as that. Didn't you say he had 50 kilohertz? 50 hertz, or his might be 500 kilohertz. I don't know what his I don't know what his stats are on his side scan. Like this is, I keep referring to this image or the other image. I mean, I know it might be an actual body, but it's the same sort of one that he put in his book and this and that. And like, I understand the body's going to have white and it's going to cast that shadow. Yeah, I get that. And the body might not look exactly like a body. It might look like a spacesuit, and the shadow won't look like the shadow of a body. But that shadow looks like the shadow that a body can cast. Whereas the shadow that we're seeing on Peter Faulding's, on this image, doesn't look like the shadow that a body can cast. So either there's something else in the way behind it, etc., or that's not a body, because the shadow is angular and has funny bits sticking out of it, which would be like a tree stump with a chair on it. Now, these are pretty interesting, aren't they? Because they're tyres and stuff. Like Peter's showing us images like this as well, and this is stretched. You can clearly see it. Let me show you that. So there's like problems in this image even as well. But this, again, I'm no expert, am I, Peter? But I think the reason that this will appear to be stretched is it's about the speed that they've dragged the sonar across and how the image is then recorded. Like if you go faster, then you get fewer echo returns per second, so your image will be more squat, and if you go slower, your image will be more elongated as you get more returns per second, I imagine. So you have to go at a certain speed to get the right shape on your image, or you have to take your image afterwards and you have to then just like squash it, or like, and you couldn't do this for court to make it look proper so you can easy to see. You'd have to just give it as it is, and the court and the experts would have to be able to do this in their mind and tell you, because otherwise this is tampering with the image, isn't it? Same as when he said he changed all the colors on it. I know the software can do that for you, but like changing colors on pictures is tampering with them, so it makes them inadmissible in court, unless it's part of the software that's doing it to provide them for the court. But there you see, I've squashed that now, and you can see the shape of the tire much better. It's not all squashed. But that tire is clearly a tire, isn't it? And it casts a shadow, which is the shadow a tire would cast. Like understanding that other dimension, having the spatial awareness to understand that, like, a tire casts a cylindrical shadow. It doesn't mean that you're some genius. It doesn't make you some super expert, does it? But it's common sense, in my opinion. Common sense that I think it might elude people when they look at Peter's image somehow. If you look at this one as well, these other shapes behind, they cast angular shadows because they are squares. Boxes, angular. Like a human being doesn't have angles on them, so they don't cast angular shapes like that. But those do. So that's another indication that this image, there's something really wrong with it, because this behind it, this the shadow behind it, clearly, like if you just forget that what looks like a bum, just look at that. It can't possibly be human. It's got like, what is it? That's where this falls apart. About 60% of me, 70% of me. I'm not going to say I'm going to. If I was in the casino and I had to put all my money on it, I'd have to put my money on no, look at that. But I can't stand up in court and say I'm a sonar. If someone did prove me wrong, I'd happily accept the proof, because I could be wrong on that. But I think for me, that's the sort of, it's almost like someone's put these out there to say, can anyone spot what's wrong with them or find something wrong with them, so that when I eventually when Peter eventually drops the big bombshell, these are the real pictures, we can address these problems early. So I'm actually helping Peter in a way by showing and exposing things that would have been exposed had he dropped the pictures, if these were the pictures. Looking at comparisons, I'm doubtful this is a Faulding release unless he edited it into nothing to become something. I think he would have taken out, if it was Peter Faulding releasing them, like I said, he would have used this spurious method to test the water, So he would have removed anything that was Faulding linked, so you could never actually directly link it back to him. If this went really well and everyone thought this was like, you know, if Super Chuffer came on the stream and said this is proof she was in there and he has to eat his hat, then Peter Faulding might come out the next week and say, well, I'm sorry these pictures have been leaked, but yes, I am behind them. Like the pictures, not the leaks, you know. But I think if this goes really wrong, then they can do what I'm saying, which is to, further doctor the pictures if they need to. Oh, they can't because they've already shown them to the police and the inquiries and stuff, can't they? Like, you know, someone somewhere along the line knows what the original pictures that Peter Faulding submitted look like. The mainstream press obviously do. So I'd guess these would actually be those, like, and they're not very good and they don't stand up to scrutiny, I don't think. Like, my scrutiny doesn't stand up to scrutiny because I'm left with imperfect evidence. Like, I don't know how fast the boat was moving. I don't know how wide these images. I could overlay that against the river, I suppose, if I had enough. Even a Google Maps of this river isn't going to be accurate enough for me to overlay it, though, is it? But do you know what I mean? Like, you know, trying to prove that that's the same bit of river, so to speak. I have to try and do that work because the work's not done for me on the image. Which it should be, but then it's a leak, so it doesn't have to be. It's about what you. But yeah, there's all those things. I find it really difficult to believe that you've gone past in your boat as a sonar expert, looking in your computer screen at that image as you've gone past, and not had a good old poke around there, and then even to the point where the police, like, why on earth would the police retrieve her body from there in the night time and then not say anything about it, plant a dummy or anything else, and then the police themselves would have to go back later and put her body in the river again? Like, all the officers that retrieved her body would know that they'd done it, so they'd all have to be in on it. Some officers in the morgue would have to be in on it, morgue assistants, you know, anyone that works in that area of the police would have to be in on it. And it's not just the police, that is it, the morgue? Do they keep them at the police station? I think they send them to the hospital, don't they? The morgue's at the hospital. They'd have to be in on it. Then you'd have to store the body for a certain amount of time. Either the autopsy people are in on it, knowing that she's going to come having been fished out of the river months ago, or you put her back in quick enough that, you know what I mean? It's just, there's so many reasons why it doesn't make sense that the police would do that. Like, if they thought she was really in there and they wanted to cover it up, why would they literally go and fish her out in front of cameras? Like, that would be the world's worst cover-up. Oh, the cover-up is to say that it was a chair and to have a photograph of the chair but not the body. Right. Yeah. Got it. Like, if they'd found her there, like, it just, there's so many questions on me about, like, why that makes an effective cover-up. Like, what's the benefit of covering that up? You know, if they'd... if they'd found her there, they would look good, wouldn't they? They'd say, we had a tip-off from Peter Faulding. Despite recent searches, we hadn't found her, but thank you, Peter. I suppose, did they not want to accept Peter had found her? Is that what he's going to say? But if they'd found her there, they could then, like, you know, we brought Nikki home, case is now closed. We've got lots of evidence to suggest she fell into the bench, because here she is right by the bench. So, case closed. And actually the police wouldn't have been in too much, like, oh, but they didn't find her, the police didn't find her. Yeah, but they weren't the only agency that went searching there. Like, you had the fire and rescue, you had the mountain rescue. I suppose the mountain rescue didn't go in the river, but you could say, despite multi-agency searches, we were unable to locate Nicola at the time. Thankfully, we have now found her. I don't think there'd be anything really wrong with that. It's weird, isn't it? And also, it begs the question, how did they not find her? If Peter Faulding is going to say that this is real and that really is her in the river, yeah, what he's also saying is that not only the police divers are incompetent, which obviously thumbs up, he wants to say that because he wins more, but he's not going to win that now, like, but, you know, there's that. But it would also be like saying that because the people in the fire and rescue went around with thermal cameras on sticks, So I'd want to see what was on their thermal cameras on sticks footage. You know, I assume they've recorded the footage that they poked the cameras in the water. And like, I want to know what they saw under there, or didn't see. Because they went there and they searched it. And like the size and the space that they're searching in, we are now to believe, and this doesn't, you see, this, I find this really difficult. I think the size is wrong. Look. This is the area of the river. That's that centre point there, yeah, you can see it, like the centre point. Nicola's supposed to be here. On there, yeah. And like, looking at this image, you can see how much of the space between the bank is taken up by Nicola. Like, you could fit 1, 2, maybe 3 of her widthways that way, yeah, maximum. Lengthways, sorry, like maybe 2 of her lengthways. And this is the tree thing here. That's the tree bit. But it doesn't look like there's enough space for it to all fit in to this. Like, spatially, it doesn't quite look like it's going to tie up. Well, I'm looking at underwater in a sonar, how do I know? But it doesn't quite look like it's going to tie up. I got a feeling in my gut of my stomach that there doesn't look like there's enough space to fit in that sonar image if it was a person, a human person, to scale, you know. Fucks up the scale of what we're looking at here, doesn't it? Like, that's only a tiny little island stump thing, and it's got that sticky out bit, like a thing with this thing sticking off it. It's that he's sonared, isn't it? And how is he going to say to? How are you going to say to me that she's in there, right there, and they miss her? On his sonar boat, what Peter Faulding has is, Peter Faulding is looking at the laptop on the boat, yeah? There's a man behind him who's driving the boat. There's another man who is holding the sonar on a string. They're the 3 men that are on the boat. None of them are divers. They're all equipped to dive, trained to dive, I imagine, but they're not divers, and they don't do the diving off the boat. To dive, they stand on the banks, they get all their kit on, they have all their stuff, they do all their checklist, and they climb in gently from the side of the river on the banks, and then they wade around in the river. They do the diving from the side. Or if they've got a particular location to choose to dive, they might access it from a different, you know, bank somewhere else, but they don't just sort of like, today we're diving, get all the kit on, let's go for a swim. First of all, they go across the river in the sonar boat and look for dive sites, and then once they've decided where they want to go and dive, they then go and access those places and dive them. The boats that have, you know, that process has already been conducted on that part of the river by the fire and rescue and the police as well. With their own, like, the police had their own sonar, the fire and rescue had their own cameras on sticks. Sorry, but they did. You know, they waded this river. I wish I could like talk to somebody from the fire and rescue who was there on the early days who would just say, we searched that. And then you could say, oh, she might not have been there on that day. But like, it's not even a good body dumping site, you know, if you're trying to dump her back in or this or that or anything. It's just really not ideal. It's not even that easy accessible from that house, I don't think. But if you want to make people believe that she'd been in the river the whole time and you had something that looked a bit weird in that space on your picture, that's possibly what I'm worried about is that Peter Faulding sat there and looked at all his sonar stuff and said, I need to find something that looks like a picture of a woman to save my career. And in that place, there was something that looked a bit like a woman, but it needed a little bit more yellow or a little bit less blue or whatever the fuck. And he's just made it come out to look, and there it is. And like, if you want to look at images in clouds and see volcanoes, and that's what you get, isn't it? Like, the thing that it really reminds me of is the what's the name of it? Damn it, I should know the name of it because we did a stream on early art, didn't we? What am I looking for? I just put early fertility idol. There you go. It's like almost like genetically pre-programmed that you would see boobs and an arse on things. Because they had a special rock in the village. Like, it's a famous one, isn't it? This one. This special rock. And like, they don't know who and they don't know how, but some long time ago. This is like a really, really early piece of artwork. This is, and they liked it because it looked a bit like a woman. I think. Yeah, and I think that's as similar to the Nicola Bulley sonar looking a bit like a woman as you're going to get, in my opinion. That's what it's. I think that's what I'm seeing there. Right, that's for YouTube then. You be good. If you can't be good, you're naughty.